to the conveniences if you're living in a city, and you're used to the fact that you don't hold much in your house because you can nip round the corner for things. So I think, it's a chance for us rural guys to really show exactly how you can really easily live in these times.
Yeah.
Just in a different type of way, because we all know rurally we're all used to doing it.
Mm-hmm. So it might just challenge you a wee bit. If city dwellers are listening, what kind of 5 things would you encourage them to buy? Let's park the toilet roll thing for a while. What sort of 5 things would you encourage them to go out and buy that you think would be most useful for them to be able to start on their batch cooking journey?
I would say, without a doubt, get yourself some reusable sealable bags, because you've probably got a small freezer and you want to be able to open up the stuff that's in your freezer and repackage it rather than it being in the big boxes, and get it into a small amount of space possible so that you can use your freezer wisely. Get yourself some frozen fruit, some frozen veg, get yourself a pint of milk and some bread, and you've still got, that should take up 2 drawers, you've still got 1 whole drawer where you can start to get some proper full cooked meals in your freezer. So that is my top tip, is to make your freezer your friend.
How do you get inspiration for new recipes?
Okay, so I've got a really naughty thing that I do, which somebody who is a great mate of mine told me about, which is that big supermarkets spend a fortune working out what people want to eat. They really get to learn their audience really well. So I walk around every supermarket and take a picture of everything that they are selling as a ready meal. And then I make it as another meal at home.
Yes. So, yeah, the most popular things are being created in a farmhouse kitchen in a, I would argue, more wholesome and delicious way. That's simple but amazing.
Yeah, I just take the general concept of what it is that they're producing.
What people like.
And I think for anybody that's got a small rural business, I would say look at what huge competitors are doing. What are Marks and Spencer's doing, who are spending millions each year on working out what the consumer wants. And top tip is to go and buy their magazine that they give away free each month and see what they're doing for that month.
Yes.
I don't always know what my taste is, might not necessarily be someone else's taste. So, I follow along the lead of all the supermarkets, from Aldi to Waitrose. I look in all of them and sort of make a plan, and that gives me great inspiration.
And you'll be needing that inspiration, because I understand that if you're about to embark on writing book number 2.
Yes, so we signed a deal for number 2, and again another deal in the States for number 2. So number 1 book is obviously just out, and I'm about to start writing book number 2, which I've already got a good few ideas for. That's really exciting. And usually I sort of become quite a hermit when I write a book. I'm really dyslexic, so I never thought I'd ever be able to write a book. But a great friend of mine who owns a bookshop in the Borders, Ros Delahaye, gave me a fantastic thing, which she said, just write it as if you're speaking to your mates, which is exactly how I do the videos. Yes. So that's exactly how I write the book. So somebody the other day, who's a friend of mine, was reading it in bed and said to me, God, it was like you were in the room, Suzanne. So don't look for anything too, highly intellectual when it comes from the Batch Lady. It's just my general chat.
Well, that's what people need. They need and they want practical, tasty solutions, and that's what you're offering.
Really, when we looked at doing this book, and when I met up with HarperCollins and they agreed to do it, it was a book that was for people who didn't necessarily buy cookery books.
Yes.
And I don't see it, to be honest, as a recipe book. I always have pulled against that. It's a method of getting meals in your freezer. That's the concept of it, is get meals done and in your freezer or in your fridge. For example, 3 in the fridge and double them and 3 in the freezer. It's not really, to me, a recipe book. Others may see it as that, but it's more about the method than the actual recipes.
And all of the benefits that we've discussed about why batching is so helpful to make life simpler and cheaper and easier and less mentally draining for some people.
Because you know me, Anna, and my publishers and agents hate when I say this, but I've never particularly enjoyed cooking, which is ironic now that I spend my whole time doing it. But the reason that I came up with all these sort of concepts is because I didn't want to cook every night.
Every single night,
and
yes.
And people have done batch cooking for years and years. This is just a modern way of doing it with very modern recipes. So you will get calzones and, you'll get really things that we all want to eat now, Thai green curry, different things like that. So it's allowing people to sort of venture out of the usual stews and things like that. Yeah, I don't particularly enjoy getting a meal on the table every night, but as most people don't. So, lots of people, will use it as a normal recipe book, but yeah, it really is to me a basic guide.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Suzanne, thank you so much. I've loved to see the kitchen in reality and to meet you again and get a copy of the book, which I'm really excited to read. And, of course, the famous Blackboard too. So thank you very much for taking part. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope it's given our listeners the chance to kind of hear more about you and your story, as well as seeing you in the videos that you create.
Well, thank you guys. I've absolutely loved it. I've wanted to be on this podcast for ages, so I'm really excited that you're now finally here recording it. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And for those of you who are listening, I've actually lost track of what number this podcast is in the run. We're going to be taking a short break now, somewhat enforced by the coronavirus situation, but we will be back very soon, I hope. Please continue to listen to all of our previous episodes. You can find them by searching On Farm on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. And you can also go to www.on-farm.co.uk. So please do keep listening, and we'll see you, or you'll hear us very soon.